Mr. Nubbins, and I own the show.
What's up all you cool snakes and neonates, how's it going? I hope you're all keeping well. So guys, today I decided we've not done a tarantula video for quite some time. For all of our tarantula lovers in here, and maybe all of our tarantula phobics as well, we can maybe shed some light on these awesome and amazing animals here today. Mr. Nubbins, of course, is not a tarantula. But first, let's go and feed some tarantulas and have a catch up with the rest of the bugs and beasties here in the reptile rich room as well. Before we get into feeding these spiders, let's take a look at their food. So this was a colony of 1 or 2 Dubia roaches that we started off with. Woohoo! Look at all that. Everywhere you look there are hundreds of them. The only gripe that I have with these guys is that they burrow. So when you put them in with the tarantulas, if they don't eat them immediately off the tongs, these guys will burrow into the substrate and be gone. Fortunately, there's a freshly molted one right there. When they freshly molt, they look pure white. They look like a ghost, like an albino. They look pretty cool. Fortunately, there are no real fresh molts in here. So let's go and feed some of these guys to some of the tarantulas. So this SP South Espanola is a mature male, so it doesn't always eat. So let's see if he's going to eat something today. No. Once they hit maturity, they don't normally eat. What? He'll still threat pose though. Well, you've got a buddy in there now. If you decide you want to eat, you can. That is a textbook threat pose right there. That is a tarantula that does not want to be messed with. You can see he's a mature male. Because he has those boxing gloves right on the end of those pedipalps right there. You can see the shorter sort of legs there, they're called pedipalps. And that's how he would impregnate a female. Oh, you stop threat posing at me, I was only closing the door. That is one angry tarantula. So we didn't get off to a great start. That was a no feed. Now this is one of the P. regalis, or Poecilotheria regalis. Now these are the common name is the Indian ornamental, obviously from India. These guys are stunning, a very underrated tarantula. Unfortunately, they run quite a bit. As you can see, before we started this, they were both out and about, which is quite unusual. But now that I've started messing around, they've retreated. This little one here is particularly timid. Now I always thought this one was a male, but they are sexually dimorphic, so males and females have different coloration. Oh, there we go, he knows it's food. Come on in, you coming out? Come on in. Come and get some food, this. There we go. Look at that yellow legs there. One of the most striking points of this P. regalis are those yellow, bright yellow legs. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, like I was saying, I thought I had a male and a female, which was going to be great. We were going to pair them. But the more that this one here grows, the more I think it's female, because males tend to be more brown and dull and awful, and this one's colours and the white down its abdomen are just popping. There's even purple flakes coming in the coloration and everything. So I'm not sure. We might have 2 females. If we do, there is no point in me holding on to 2 females. So we may rehome one of them just for space. If we had space, we would look for a male and breed both females, but we're running out of space here. After giving him a spray, he got a bit of a fright there and came back out the other side and has graced us with a little bit of a view of him. So you can see that beautiful pattern there. You can see the white down the abdomen there. That's usually typical of the females, that sort of bright white outline down the white middle and stuff. Normally the males are a lot more brown and a bit boring compared to this. But this one's looking very pretty. So yeah, I think we might have 2 females. We'll see. But that one is just happily nomming away right there. Well, not so happily now that I've sprayed down the enclosure. Of course, our girl Coconut here, acting like she's shy. This is our handling tarantula that we are training up, or desensitizing, to be used for kids' parties. It's right underneath you, sweetie. She's running from it. This could mean a pre-molt. I would like you to have one more feed though if you are going to pre-molt, because I'd like you to be a bit chunkier, because they lose a lot of weight after they molt. Do you have a bite? There we go. There we go. She figured out that it was food. Oh, are we even going to get a happy dance? So tarantulas do what's called a happy dance. You can see those spinnerets there at her bottom. And you'll see them come down. And you'll see them do that on the floor. And they use them to put down a layer of web. They do it in a circle, so they basically make a dinner plate to eat their dinner on top of. And while they do this little circle dance, it's commonly known as the happy dance. Although she is working herself into a bit of a position. Now, that whole the whole running from the food there that you've seen at the beginning could have been, like I say, a pre-molt, or it could have been a show of how her training has been kind of working. So I still very stupidly touched her back end, which is normally what I do to tell her that it's not feeding time, it's handling time. So yeah, we touched her in the back end there, and she may have thought she was about to be handled, which is why she ran from the food, which is a very good show of progress. Or like I say, she could just be in pre-molt, which is pretty good as well. Which is a very pretty girl. We're going to get full on a happy dance. Sometimes the infrared from the cameras makes the animals a bit shy when it comes to eating. Especially the spiders. I turn the filming light off with the spiders because if the filming light's on, they don't really feed. Possibly because their eyesight is extremely poor. So they'll be able to see light and shadows. There you go, look, you can see those spinnerets at the back of the abdomen. Putting down the web there, you actually get a fantastic view of that. Look at that. That is perfect. That is a beautiful little happy dance. So we got a happy dance, happy dance. Oh, stop now. Dad's singing. So yeah, there's that eyesight is really poor, but the fact that it's poor, they'll probably take in like the shadows and light. So when you've got bright light shining on top of them, it's probably one of the few things they can see, making them feel exposed. They live mostly through touch and feel. They feel vibrations and things like that through their hairs. So you can see that web down there on the floor. Spinnerets working their magic. Putting down a dinner plate. And then walking away from it. Look, you can see that web there coming out the back. Fantastic. There's some really good footage here, guys. What you doing, sweetie? Where are you going? That's Coconut, our female curly-haired tarantula. These guys are known for their calm demeanour. If you ever want a tarantula you can handle, of course, as always, as they say, handling tarantulas, you do it at your own risk because they can get really hurt from falling and things like that, and they can be spooked by you breathing on them and things like that because of those sensitive hairs. But if you're ever looking for a tarantula that you want to handle, I would strongly recommend one of these guys because they are fantastic. Just if you ever do handle them, make sure that you're not handling them elevated so they're not high off the ground, so if they do fall off your hand, they're not going to plummet to their death and splat on the floor. And these guys are wonderful tarantulas. She seems quite unusual in her coloration. The camera doesn't pick up so much, but she has a really bright carapace. So the part that her eyes are on, the middle sort of section, that is really bright, sort of browny orange even, sometimes even pinky coloured. Normally they're just sort of a dull brown all over, but she's definitely a very pretty version of the species. Look at that, she's doing a little happy dance there. Next up we have our Peruvian green velvet, a dwarf species of tarantula. Can't remember the scientific name of this one. Thrixopelma prurens maybe? And it is a crazy case. Absolute nut job, this spider. It'll run like the clappers 1 second and then run at you the next. Let's give it a Dubia roach. I know, see what I mean. That's the plant. That's, wow. It's physically pulling on the tongs right now. It's biting the tongs. Biting up the tongs. I've dropped it. I've dropped it. You've lost it. This spider's nuts. You missed it. There it is right there. That Dubia roach touches. There we go. Oh. Now we're at a stalemate. The Dubia roach is underneath our little Thrixopelma prurens. See, these guys aren't silly. I think they know when they're in danger. And when the spider hovers over them, they don't move. It's like a stalemate. Who's going to move first? The Dubia roach is anchored down. It is not moving. Unless that Dubia roach moves, the tarantula has completely lost it. Normally the Dubia roach gives in first and it will move. The Thrixopelma prurens is a dwarf species of tarantula. They don't get very big, but they're a very active tarantula. There are pretty much no webs in that enclosure, so they're always on show. So they're a pretty cool little tarantula. If you want a showpiece that you can always see, definitely not a handling tarantula. These guys are crazy. I mean, I don't know if I got it there on the footage, how the fangs there was just constantly in the tongs. She was absolutely nuts. The Dubia roach was long gone, but she was still attacking those tongs like it was going out of fashion. If I put the tongs in there, she'll attack the tongs. So I need that Dubia roach right now to move. Come on. What a stubborn little stalemate. Sometimes giving this tarantula a couple of minutes to reset. From one extreme to the next now. A spider that barely webs to a spider that webs so much you can barely see it. With this one, this is a Carabina versicolor. Oh, okay. But it's another one that's dropped the roach. And can't find it now. Oh. Well, at least we get a view of her. So we've not done terribly well with previous spiders, but this one is one of my personal favourites. Never fails to deliver the goods when it comes to feeding. This is Phoenix, our Mexican flame leg, or Brachypelma bohemi. As I say that, he's not wanting to feed. Wonder if it's because it's winter. Let me know in the comments below, guys, if you guys keep tarantulas. Do they go off food in the winter like the snakes do? Yeah, no, he's not wanting that. Could be in for another molt. He's looking a bit chunky at the back end. I don't want him to molt because I don't want this guy to mature. Once they mature, they only have about a year left to live. I really don't want this guy to mature because he's wonderful. Usually the males live for like 10 years, these guys, so it'd be unusual because that would mean he's matured pretty quickly. But yeah, he's definitely not wanting to eat. Phoenix, Phoenix, Phoenix. You're normally the star. I mean, you still are the star. Look at that tarantula. That is a gorgeous spider. So yeah. Looks like our Dubia roach colony is going to continue to get bigger. Now Surely this crazy case is going to feed. This is our Nandru colatravalensis. Brazilian black and white is the common name. Much easier to say than whatever that scientific name is. This girl's nuts. Again. Maybe. Do like food? Don't want food? Maybe like food. Ah, food's gone. Oh, another one. Definitely something in the water today. Well, guys, it's hard to make a tarantula feeding video when none of yous actually feed. Let's see, this is the P metallicus. These guys are stunning. Look at the blue coloration coming in on that one. Possibly, arguably, one of the most striking tarantulas when they're adults. Let's see if this one wants to eat first because it's keen. Of course, the P metallicus want to eat. You guys can see that there, but fangs are injecting a shed load of venom right there. Whew. Apparently these guys can deliver a nasty bite. Now, as with all tarantulas, it won't be a fatal bite to us humans, but apparently it's a nasty bite. The venom is not very pleasant. These, again, are not a handling tarantula. Definitely not one you want to mess around and find out with. You can see the blue starting to come through on that one. Striking. The only thing we'll have in this split into two is it nearly ran into its siblings' enclosure. Which, although these have been known to be kept communal, these have been separated now, so I wouldn't like to reintroduce them. Now, its sibling over this side, I believe, is in molt. I'm going to offer it something, and we'll see if it wants to eat. Okay, it ate. Num nums. Unfortunately, one tarantula we won't get to see eat is the P. erminias. They're extremely secretive, and you never get to see them eating. They run away as soon as you touch their enclosure. Far too small yet. But two of them are surviving and doing wonderfully. You can see a couple of little molts in the front there. So you can see they're both molting out and doing well. I believe one of them is currently in molt. But what I have to do with these guys is I take a cricket, cut it in half and just leave it there. And they come out and eat it. Another animal update. The Indian stick insects. We had a colony of hundreds going. Now we're just down to 2 babies. That's because the colony died off. I'm not entirely sure the reasoning for it, but we came down to 1. So I separated that one into a smaller enclosure, let it lay all these eggs. And then, of course, it inevitably passed away and just incubated these eggs, or set these eggs out separately on kitchen roll with moisture. And now these eggs are hatching out. So we're currently restarting our stick insect colony. These guys we use for the kids' parties and things like that. Really handy, the Indian stick insect. You'll never guess where it comes from. Comments below, where does the Indian stick insect come from? What country? There you go. Cute little guys. I'm so glad that the colony is going to be saved. It started with just 1. And now it ended with just 1. And this is a new batch. Of course, these guys reproduce through parthenogenesis, meaning that they don't need a mate. They reproduce asexually. They just clone themselves. They lay eggs. If this is going to focus, probably not. They lay eggs that are perfect clones of themselves, which is called parthenogenesis. And then last, but definitely not least, the African sun beetle. This one is modelling next to its proud work, which it should be proud of. Because the African sun beetle is born as a grub just like this. These are 2 of ours. They make a cocoon in the dirt, or in this case, he made a cocoon inside this dry wood. Now have a look, he's actually hollowed out the dry wood to create this perfect little place to make a cocoon. That is something else. And unfortunately we had about 7 of these guys. There's a grub in the background actually, in the glass right there. So we did have about 7 of these guys. Yeah, due to my own lack of knowledge, I think they passed away. We lost majority of them. We lost it all but about 3 of them. So I've upped my care of these guys. I've figured it out now. I think I've got it pretty much dialed because they are reproducing. I can't find any more other than this guy and 2 grubs, but their numbers do seem to go up and down. They actually do need quite a bit of work, to be honest with you. But how cool is that little beetle? That's a really nice little close-up of it there. Absolutely gorgeous, these guys. They're a stunning little beetle. Really do like these guys. That's the African Sun Beetles. Who's got an itchy bit? Cleaning the antennas. Cleaning themselves. If that isn't cool footage, I don't know what is. Mr. Nubbins! Let me start the bit. Hadn't even let me set up the camera. Mr. Nubbins, we have all these excess roaches. I know where to put them. What should we do with them, Mr. Nubbs? I think our very own Mr. Nubbins would like some of these. Stop it! Stop it, you savage. Here, on the floor. Oh, you're a savage, Mr. Nubbs, aren't you? Are you a savage boy? Would you like another one? Mr. Nubbins goes through phases of liking different things. You like one thing 1 minute and detest it the next, and then I've got to spend weeks trying to figure out what he wants to eat now. Apparently right now, we've just discovered it's Dubia roaches, which is fine, because as we've just seen, none of those blooming spiders want to eat them. So we've got surplus. That's pretty good news for you, Mr. Nubbs, isn't it? Would you like another? Look, here. Ah, quick! Mr. Nubbins nearly got away. There we go. So, a happy ending, maybe not so happy for these Dubia roaches. Now, I'm an animal lover. I love bugs, beasties, even these guys. So these guys get regular feeding. The reason they have thrived so well, this food, is because I've actually cared for them quite a bit. They have I've given them a heat mat, so they've got a heat source, which is the trick to getting Dubia roaches breeding. If you want to make your own feeding colony of Dubia roaches, give them a little heat mat, pump up that heat, and they'll go at it. So there we go, breeding the Dubia roaches, giving them regular food, and I also changed that cardboard about because I left the substrate in there, and it got a wee bit wet, and now I can't get rid of it because of course the Dubia roaches pee and poo. So all I do really is regularly change that cardboard out, give them clean cardboard, and that does the trick for them. So Mr. Nubbs, what did you like about this episode? Is that my one? No? That your one? Okay. Mr. Nubbs liked this episode. Of course you did, you got something in your tummies, didn't you? You're a handsome boy, Mr. Nubbs. You're a handsome boy. Oh, he says, feed me, Dad, don't touch me. Feed me, scary dragon. Would you like another one, my Mr. Nubbs? Of course he would! Chunking up the Mr. Nubbs, there we go. I always like it when he starts eating something because he goes off food for a while and then loses weight, and I get all paranoid. But then before you know it, he's back on food again and we can build that weight back up. His weight is just always up and down as Mr. Nubbs. Because you are a fussy Mr. Nubbs. Yes, you are. And so I hope you guys all enjoyed that little bug update, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, don't forget to like the video, comment what you thought of the video on the video. You can subscribe through my ugly mug right there. There'll be a random playlist for you right there and a random video selected for you right there. From me, the bugs, and the rest of the guys, take it easy. Peace.